Hey guys, I wanted to sit down and kind of discuss range killers in Dead by Daylight. I'm gonna focus more on Trickster than anything else because Trickster is just awful. So there's three prominent range killers in Dead by Daylight, those being Huntress, Deathslinger, and Trickster. And Huntress and Deathslinger are avidly seen as fairly good to solid killers. And I definitely agree on that because Huntress, I would say she's really powerful in chases, especially if you know how her hatchet works. And Deathslinger, I'd say, is incredibly powerful in loops because he can basically negate that entire loop with his spear gun. Now, I do enjoy playing Huntress, not as much as I enjoy playing Deathslinger and Trickster. And oh my god, Trickster is not very good. Trickster's power is incredibly weak. Unanimously, everybody agree that he's just a straight up awful killer, among the worst in the game, right next to like Trapper and Clown. Trapper's ability is just way too based around RNG, which I cry because I love Trapper and he's definitely one of my more played killers. Jesus fuck, please buff him already. Clown is not very good just because the entire way you play against Clown is you just drop a pallet early in a chase and you hold W and you run away. Granted, if you're playing against survivors that have less than 5 brain cells to rub together, then it's not that hard to get a 4K with any killer in the game actually. Most experienced survivors, when they play against a Clown, they will just drop a pallet early in a chase and they'll just hold W. If the survivor decides to keep looping the same pallet for no reason though, and if that survivor keeps attempting to loop that same pallet that they dropped, they're gonna get caught because Clown's entire premise is he throws a bottle, haha, you go slow now. Back to the point, Trickster, anytime I played a game with Trickster and I got a 4K or a 3K, or I consider myself that I won that game, it wasn't because I was playing the Trickster. It was basically just because I have a solid understanding of killer / game sense in Dead by Daylight. Alright, so the first problem with Trickster is I feel like he needs to commit to a chase way too hard because the laceration meter deteriorates the damage pretty quickly and Trickster will need to spend that time trying to down that one survivor. And this is bad for a couple of reasons. Trickster cannot spread out pressure. He can't spread pressure out as it is because he is a 110 movement speed killer, which already kind of hurts him in loops. But what hurts him even more is that Trickster needs to commit to one survivor as soon as he starts chasing them. He can't just drop the chase and go find another survivor nearby. And that's because his laceration meter deteriorates way too quickly, and I don't feel like that should deteriorate whatsoever. So that's the first fix that I think they should apply to Trickster. Just don't have the laceration meter deteriorate, because a prominent example of this is Plague. I mean, with Plague, when you vomit on somebody, they don't just heal for no fucking reason. And because of that, I don't think there should be any reason that the survivors should just magically heal when they get hit by knives, and Trickster just doesn't hit them with knives for an allotted amount of time. Also, Trickster's main event, quote-unquote main event. Now, main event is awful. Like, it is so terrible. It is literally beyond useless. And here's why. Main event, sounds solid on paper because he throws knives pretty quickly. Okay, that's fair enough because main event doesn't drain the amount of knives he has. So let's say he has like 63 and then he starts main event and then he'll still have 63 after the main event's over. The biggest issue with main event is that you need to use it in a certain amount of time because there's a timer on it. I don't recall how lengthy that timer is, but I know it's pretty short. And once you gain main event, I feel like you should be able to literally use it like whenever you want to, because having that ability just fucking disappear entirely is terrible. Not that main event is even that useful to begin with, but still. Main event's biggest problem isn't that you need to use it in a certain amount of time, it's the ability itself, because once you start main event, you will lose a lot of speed, which will in turn lose you a good amount of distance on the survivor, and it takes an additional second or two before you can actually start throwing the knives. So realistically, you would never want to use this power in chases. The only time you would ever want to use main event is if a survivor is going for a blatantly fucking stupid play right in front of you. And the reason you wouldn't ever want to use main event in a chase is because when you use main event, aside from all the delay, you move slower than a survivor. which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Why during Trickster's quote-unquote main event is he so fucking terrible, and the design is intentional that you move slower than a survivor, and I don't understand why. This is my first time ever really producing a video, and I kind of just wanted to touch up on Trickster because he is one of my favorite killers in Dead by Daylight. He's in like my top like 6, top 7. I definitely think Trickster deserves a bit more of a buff, especially a buff to his main event. So yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.